Why quiet people are more dangerous than you think. Part 1. The power of silence. Imagine walking into a room full of people. Everyone is talking. Some are laughing loudly. Some are trying to get attention. Others are constantly sharing their opinions. But in the corner of the room sits one person. Quiet. Quiet. Observing. Listening. They barely say a word. Most people ignore them, and that's exactly why they're so powerful. Society has trained us to believe that the loudest person in the room is the most confident. The person speaking the most is assumed to be the smartest. The person attracting attention is seen as the leader. But psychology suggests something different. In many situations, the people who speak the least gather the most information, and information is power. Think about it. When you're talking, you're revealing information. You're exposing your opinions, emotions, weaknesses, goals, and sometimes even your fears. But when you're listening, you're collecting information without giving much away. This creates an imbalance. The quiet person often knows more about everyone else than everyone else knows about them, and that makes him unpredictable. One of the most uncomfortable feelings for the human brain is uncertainty. Humans naturally trust things they understand. When we don't understand someone, our brain starts filling in the gaps. That's why quiet people often seem mysterious. The less information people have about someone, the more their imagination starts working, and imagination is often more powerful than reality. There's an interesting psychological principle called the information gap. The less information people have, the more curious they become. This is why mystery movies are so addictive. It's why unfinished stories stay in our minds. And it's why quiet people often attract attention without even trying. People begin asking questions. What are they thinking? Why don't they talk much? Do they know something I don't? That mystery creates influence. Now here's something even more interesting. Studies have shown that people often overestimate the intelligence of individuals who speak less. Why? Because when someone talks constantly, people can easily evaluate their thoughts. But when someone speaks only occasionally, people tend to assume they're carefully choosing their words. In other words, silence can create the appearance of wisdom. Of course, being quiet doesn't automatically make someone intelligent, but perception matters. And psychology isn't just about reality. It's also about how people interpret reality. This is one reason many successful negotiators use silence strategically. Imagine you're negotiating a deal. The other person makes an offer. Instead of immediately responding, you stay silent. Most people become uncomfortable. The silence creates pressure, and often the other person starts talking more. Sometimes they improve their offer. Sometimes they accidentally expose their true intentions, all because they couldn't tolerate the silence. Silence has a strange effect on people. Many people fear it. That's why elevators feel awkward. That's why conversations often become uncomfortable when nobody speaks. The human brain constantly wants stimulation. When silence appears, people rush to fill it. Quiet individuals understand something that most people never learn. You don't always gain power by speaking. Sometimes you gain power by remaining silent. But there's another reason quiet people can seem dangerous. They are often underestimated. And being underestimated is one of the greatest advantages a person can have. History is filled with examples of individuals who achieved remarkable success. Big cows, altars, didn't see them as a threat. People tend to focus on obvious competitors. The loud person, the confident person, the attention seeker. Meanwhile, the quiet observer continues learning, improving, and preparing. By the time others notice them, they're already ahead. This is why some of the most successful people in business, sport, and leadership roles are not necessarily the loudest. Many are thoughtful observers. They spend more time analyzing than speaking, more time listening than arguing, more time learning than showing off. And over time, those habits compound. But perhaps the most misunderstood thing about quiet people is this: being quiet does not mean being weak. In fact, some of the strongest people are quiet precisely because they don't feel the need to prove themselves constantly. They don't need attention to validate their worth. They don't need approval from everyone around them. And that level of self-control is rare, because self-control is a form of power. Anyone can react emotionally. Anyone can lose their temper. Anyone can say the first thing that comes into their mind. But remaining calm, patient, and observant requires discipline. And discipline is often what separates average people from exceptional ones. In the next part, we're going to explore something even more fascinating: why quiet people often notice things that others completely miss, and how their ability to observe human behavior can give them an unexpected advantage in almost every area of life.